What is up, people? Welcome back. Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, episode 101. 101. We are now in the triple digits. And that's a fun place to be, I think. I just am like, we made it. We made it past 100. Here we are. We're still around. People are still listening. Thank you for that, by the way. I am showing up for you guys in true vulnerability style today to have a conversation in this episode about how are you showing up in your world? And I'm going to go into some stories that you probably don't know about me yet. Awesome, right? And I love actually stepping into this full vulnerability to be. That's part of why I wanted the podcast to come out, was because I wanted a platform that I could show up and talk to you guys about things, and you could get to know me better, and you could step into this space also to show people who you really are. Because sometimes it takes that one person in our light to actually open up a pathway for others. And I'm called to that every single day of the week. And I love doing this work. I love showing up for you. I love being in the space with you. I love all of this. So here we go. Episode 101, the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. What is going on, beautiful people? So I just want to give you guys a heads up. For those of you guys that watch this on YouTube, I am recording this on Zoom today because we're in the middle of like a massive rainstorm. And for those of you guys that listen to it, the audio track may not be as clean as it normally is, but I am showing up here potently aligned in the space of this energy. I realize it's Thursday, and for some of you guys new to this podcast, I record, unless I have guests, my podcast interviews the day before or maybe 2 days before the release date, because I really do it in a potent energy of what's happening in the collective. And so I'm sitting here. I got back from the gym this afternoon, been doing a bit of work on my computer, had a coffee, been really rooted in to this energy field here. And I'm just setting the tone for you guys to dive in with me to this episode, because the title of the episode that came through while I was literally flipping over the laundry and cutting up the sweet potatoes that are on the stove right now. And if you guys are watching this on video, you get to see the landscape of my life. For those of you guys that are listening to this on a podcast platform, it's like you might be able to hear the aspects of my life, but I am really truly in a multitasking energy. But whenever I do things, whether that's working out at the gym, going for a walk, I'm driving, downloads and ideas come into my field all the time. And I believe, as a spiritual being on this earth experience, that this actually happens for all of us. Just most of us are not attuned into the fact that this is actually happening. We're not paying attention to it. We are not connected that way. We're avoiding the conversations. We don't really want to take ownership of certain aspects of our life and whatever the things are. And I'm not here to judge any of us. I'm not here to potentially make you feel small about that. But if you are being triggered by something I say, there's some work to be done around that. And trust me, guys, I get this. I have been knee deep in my own rebirthing. I've been knee deep in my own shadow work over the last 6 months for sure. Never mind last year, and pretty much a year almost in landscape of some really deep rooted work. And I finally feel like as we moved into July, and even if you listen to this podcast, not in July of the month of 2024 or July of 2024, somewhere else down the line, it doesn't matter about the timeline of this, but this is what's moving through my field. I almost feel like I'm coming out of it. I almost feel like I can breathe a bit. I've got like one more hover of energy to move through, and then I feel like I've busted open the ceiling to the landscape of things that I'm moving and maneuvering through. So as I was doing life today in regular occurrences, and if you guys can hear the dogs in the background, I apologize for that. My female dog is in heat, and my male dog just started yesterday picking up to the fact that she's been in heat for 2 weeks. And we have 2 more weeks of this, or actually more so like, let's say 2 weeks of this. And he is going nutty over the last couple of days, but it's been quite intense, actually, to say the least. And I'm like, when can I get you to the vet? That is my first thing to have happen next week as I move through life. But I digress. So as I'm going through these minutia things, these everyday life things, these things in the world, the question came up for me to explore with you guys today on the podcast is, how are you handling life? How are you handling life? And when I ask you this question, you may be like, this is an interesting question to lead in a podcast interview or to lead in a podcast episode. But how we do anything is how we do everything. So Colleen, back in the day, used to be really, really connected to drama and to hiding. Okay, they're really like going at it right now. To drama and to hiding from her life. So if something was hard or if something was coming up to confront me, or if I did something, I would normally recluse. I literally used to play Houdini all the time. We would go out to the bar with friends, and there'd come a point of the night that I'd be like, I'm done. And I would Houdini people. And I came to start to tell people, like I made a pact with some of my friends to be like, I would tell one person that I was leaving so people knew that I was leaving, because or else they didn't know. They'd be like, where the hell is Colleen? And I would just take off in Houdini. And it's not like I was going with a guy or I was leaving with someone. I would just be like, I'm done. I can't handle the energy any longer. I can't handle any of this, and I gotta go. Right. So I'm yawning through this. Oh, excuse me. This is great. Someone's moving energy through this, listening to it right away, which is amazing. You're having a realization in this moment of time. 1 of you, 5 of you, 50 of you, somebody just picked up on what I was just dropping in the energetic field. And this is how I did life. I would run from things. I didn't want to have the conversations. I didn't want to deal with my stuff. I didn't want to be responsible for stuff. I didn't want conflict in my world. When I was a manager, it was super hard. Well, it was a lot easier, I guess, because it was someone else's company. But when I was started running my own brick and mortar business back in 2015, that I had a couple partners, I freaking hated conflict. I hated having to talk to team members that I managed about their performance, about things they can't do, about why they thought that that was okay, and it's like the rhythm of that for me was like, ugh, like, and I saw it show up in all aspects of my life, in my relationships, in my loving relationships, and how I was with partners and how I showed up in the world, like all of it. And it wasn't until probably that I got back from California, and I went through so many pivotal experiences there of learning who I was and the dynamics of emotional stability, and diving deep into some of the stuff that I needed to heal and move through, that I actually started taking ownership of this. And it really started to move in my field in 2020, especially near the end of 2020, where I had a major breakthrough in December of that year of releasing codependency in my life that I didn't know. Okay, let's just put it this way. Somewhere in me knew, but my conscious level of awareness didn't want to step into that, or didn't want to address it, or didn't want to participate in life that way. Okay, let's just put it that way. But it was like, I can't really say I didn't know, because I totally did know, but I didn't want to know. So I pretended like it wasn't happening. Right. So like, let's just like be real and frank about this. So it wasn't until that year, and then 2021 and 2022, even more so, that I, every single time, and even today, still to this day, something hits my field and I go, my first instinct is to hide, run, or not address. And I literally have to consciously choose every single time. Every time. Right now, I'm just reminded of something that I need to step into, to send a message out to hold an energetic space, because I said I would do something and I haven't done it yet. I'm like, oh my God, I got to send out that message, because every day I'm consciously collapsing this need inside of me to hide or to run, because that's not serving anyone. That's not serving my integrity. That's not serving my mission on earth. That's not serving how I show up in the world. And most of you don't know this about me, which is really kind of fun, because I like to tell you guys truth and be vulnerable on this podcast. So when this dropped into my field today to discuss this with you, to be like, how are you showing up in your life? It's like, are you running? Are you hiding? Are you swallowing the big, massive bill and taking responsibility? Are you leading life in courage? It takes courage to step up. I swallow the courage pill every day, some days, to own some of the stuff, to own some of the things that I did in the past. A girl I went to high school with just passed away this past week. She was really, really sick, like had been sick for years with MS. And I don't even know the landscape of it all, but I followed her journey on Instagram, and we're friends on Facebook and stuff like that. And I just saw some people I went to high school with make posts about their relationship with her. It wouldn't be an authenticity for me to make a post about my relationship with her, because I don't know her in her adult life. I knew her in high school, and that was it. Like I didn't know her at 18 when she had her daughter. I didn't know the landscape of her life that she went through. And it authentically would be totally out of alignment for me to even make a post about it. To comment on a post with some of the people that I know in my world is totally different, because that's a whole other energy field of understanding. But why I say that to you today is I'm like, I've been recognizing parts of my world over the last while where I led life in a certain energy. You know, this woman who passed away, her name was Danielle. I don't remember ever paying real attention to her. She was part of kind of like the outside crowd. You know, she ran with some people in my life that were more like, let's do drugs, let's chill the fuck out, let's hang out over here, where I was trying, and I say that's so like in alignment for who I was at the time, trying to be part of the cool kids. You know, and sometimes these girls would come and party with us and they'd be at certain things, and but they were more like the alternative kind of chilled out, let's smoke some weed kind of girls. And like, granted, I did smoke a lot of weed in high school, but I did it more so for like show and more so for like being a part of the cool kids and being a part of the parties than I was for it feeling aligned for me. I did a lot of my life that way. Who do you want me to be? And how do I become something so I can fit in? And this was a lot of the landscape of the world I worked within. And when I started my spiritual journey, I dismantled so many masks. I worked on this energy of not being enough for like years and years, you know, and I can look at people now in the space of some of the work that they do, and I'm like, I am enough to have a business that's impactful, that makes a difference in people's lives, that steps up, that I could be a part of things. Like, I am now having people that have interviewed me on their podcast be a part of different aspects of my offerings. Like, I'm doing one-to-one work with a woman that I never ever imagined doing one-to-one work with. Like, I would have never predicted the space that I'm in today, and it's only getting started. However, the only way I can hold this energy is by being true to myself, by honoring my word, by stepping up and speaking in rawness and vulnerability and showing up as myself in full potency and leaning into this space and being totally in life. And every single day looking at my shit to be like, I don't want to fucking be under this any longer. And it doesn't mean that we don't have struggles as we get to the next levels. We do, but having courage gets easier. Putting boundaries gets easier. Stepping up into the space gets easier. And it's like one of those things that we've got to, though, take action and just keep moving and choose every day not to fucking be underneath the shit that we're under, and that we're moving forward in certain perspectives and certain alignments, and that we're taking that movement forward to honor, to move, to change, and to be. But we've got to make that choice. And we've got to step into that space. So when I say to you, how are you showing up in your life? Are you showing up in your full potency that you desire? And when I say full potency, I'm not saying you're on all the time. I'm saying you live the life that's connected to you, that you feel aligned with, that you feel juicified in, that you can connect into in this potency level of things, that you can chill the fuck out and relax and put your feet up and be with your family and kids at the cottage and take the week off and be all in life and do the things in life. And you can also lead in your energetic capacities, in your potency of power, in your heart-centered spaces. So I ask you today, it's like, how are you showing up in life? And if you're not showing up in the way that you want to, how can you change that? By taking different actions, by releasing things in your world, by stepping up, by stepping in, by moving things around. I don't know, each of us is different, right? Every day I have to check myself. And sometimes I'm like, fuck, I'm running. You know, I need to call the government, okay, of Canada. I've got to make a call to them to clear up some shit that's going on in my freaking taxes. And you know how long I've had to call the government for? Like a year. And I'm like, I'm still running from the government. It's like, I would just say that with so much love and respect for myself. I'm like, I just like, it kind of makes sense, you know, my rebellion energy, you know, but I'm just like, shit, like there's still parts of my world that I'm running from the government. You know, maybe that's why I moved to Costa Rica. I'm sort of kidding. ish, you know, like, no, the government's not chasing me, but I need to align something with the government that I just haven't done. And I got to step up into that space and really move some stuff forward and really maneuver some stuff in the space of things. And I am in this capacity now to actually do that, to actually be with that, to really move within that. And some of you don't have that issue, but I show up here in my potency for you to know and feel and understand that we're all playing in our games. You got something in your life that maybe you're not fully aligned in, that you are not showing up potently in, that you haven't spoken your truth into, that you're scared as fuck about something. And what if today is the day that you decide to stop being so scared? To stop self-doubting, self-sabotaging, destroying your fucking life. Because I get it, guys. I have been through all of this and still float in some dynamics sometimes. Because I'm a human. I'm a human. I am a human. Apparently I'm not. Maybe I'm just an alien. Let's just call it what it is. I'm a human in this experience on Earth too. And I go through my ebbs and flows and I go through the dynamics of life and I move through it all just like you guys do. But I show up on this podcast to tell you about it. And I show up in my content to tell you about it. And I step up into the space of things and I'm real and raw in offerings and programs and masterclasses I teach because I only want to be in real and raw and vulnerable and connected experiences. I do not want surface level shit. I do not want to be with someone who's phony and fake. I do not want clients pretending in the space of things. I want them to come and play. Talk to me about all the shit. My newest shadow work client sent me this massive long email today and I sent him an email back and I went, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is exactly how we change our lives, by taking ownership of all of it, by speaking right into it. Whoo, my body's in goosebumps. It's right here. Are you running right now? Are you creating distractions and busyness in your life so you don't have to deal with your shit? How are you showing up in your life? Real talk, baby. This podcast is all about that. Real talk. I'm going to get some guests coming through soon. I haven't put the call out yet to bring them forth into the space of things, but I will, because there's some powerful people out there that got a lot to say. And there's some stuff I desire to lean into in this calibration of energy for you to explore and feel into and get nuggets from. But until I do that, I just want to keep asking you potent questions that bring up something in your field for you to bring into awareness. And maybe you're like, Colleen, I'm showing up exactly how I desire to, in full alignment and beautified energy and all the things. And I'm going to go to you. Game on, my friend. But I probably can bet and guarantee that 99.9% of us in this life, if we're really honest, are right at the cusp of making a massive move, are right at the edge of changing our lives, are right about to make a decision to change our habits. It's going to take some moves, though, to move it forward. I love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm holding space for all the things. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode because I feel complete. Let's finish it off and let's end it here in this Zoom recording today. I'll see you guys soon.